O kia ora e hoa, hara mai, come and join me. I've got a big stack of books here. I'm wondering which one we should read next. Maybe this one here. This looks good, doesn't it? It's called Ruby Loudmouse and the Ruru. It's written by Alice Pearce and it's illustrated by Dïne the Fox. Are you nice and comfy? Ready for a story about a loud mouse? Let's begin. Ruby was a very, very small mouse, but she was also very, very loud. When she was born, the doctor said to her mother, "This is not a mouse, it's a lion." Ruby's mother thought she might be right because Ruby yelled and yelled. Every morning as the sun rose over the kowhai trees on Ruby Street, all the neighbours would be woken up by Ruby singing at the top of her lungs. "Oh," they would say, "there she goes, Ruby Loudmouse." And every night all her brothers and sisters had to wear earplugs because she would sleep talk so loudly. "I'm the loudest mouse," she would shout, fast asleep, and her wide-awake brothers and sisters would sigh and say, "Yes, you are, Ruby Loudmouse." Can you see them all snuggled up here? Looks like they're sleeping on a tin. When she started school, Ruby found it very tricky. There was a lot of quiet time, silent reading, and a whole library where you couldn't say a word. Ruby tried very hard not to speak. But it turned out that quiet time also meant no humming. Shh. No tapping. Shh. And definitely no singing. Shh. "You have to learn to be quiet," Ruby's teacher, Fire Rachel, told her. "Mice just aren't meant to be loud." Well, Ruby didn't like disappointing her teacher, so she tried very, very hard. She didn't hum or sing or tap, and she only talked in a tiny whisper. But there was a low buzzing noise that came out of her ears, and it turned out that Ruby could not even think quietly. Can you see what the illustrator's done here to show the low buzzing noise? Buzz. Sometimes Ruby discovered it was okay to be loud, like when jumping in puddles or sliding down slides or playing a game of rugby. Then Ruby could hoot and holler all she liked. But most of the time, you had to be quiet, not just at school, but at the movies. Shh. When buying lollies at the dairy. Shh. And especially on the school trip to the marae. You ready? Shh. And even though Ruby knew when she needed to be quiet, she still found it very hard. Sometimes Ruby even had to hold her breath or stuff a large piece of hokey pokey in her mouth to make sure she didn't speak. And of course, whenever Ruby didn't have to be quiet, she was loud, loud, loud. She could hum and sing and tap when her class went tramping, but not at the museum. Are you ready? Shh. She could hum and sing and tap her jandals at the beach, but not when riding on the bus. Shh. Then one evening as the light of dusk was falling, a very strange thing happened. Ruby was outside having a final game of foursquare with her brothers and sisters being very loud, when suddenly everything around her went very quiet. The cars on the road stopped. Her brothers and sisters all stopped running around. Even the wind dropped right down. I wonder what's going on. Ruby looked around and saw that everyone else was looking up. And when she looked up, she saw why. Up above Mousetown was a big feathery face. A big yellow-eyed feathery face. A big yellow-eyed feathery Ruru face. Can you see it? Oh my goodness. Ruby gasped. She knew that a Ruru meant bad news for mice because the Ruru was a mouse hunter. They had learned about them at school, and her mum had told her all about them when she was small. She knew that if she saw a Ruru, it was very important to be very still and, most importantly, very quiet. What's she going to do? Ruby looked over at her mum in the window of the kitchen, and her mum mouthed, "Shh." Ruby looked at her brothers and sisters outside, and they mouthed, "Shh." Ruby looked all around her neighbourhood and saw all her neighbours mouthing, "Shh." And Ruby knew she needed to be quiet. But Ruby also felt a bit like she needed to sing. Ruby looked up at the Ruru with its big feathery face, and she thought to herself, "Shh." She looked again at her mum and all her brothers and sisters and thought, "Shh." She looked at the whole neighbourhood and thought, "Shh." And then after all that, she couldn't help it. She looked up at the Ruru and started to sing. "No, Ruby Loudmouse," whispered her mum. "No, Ruby Loudmouse," whispered her brothers and sisters. "No, Ruby Loudmouse," whispered all the neighbours. But Ruby couldn't hear them because her song was too loud. Ruby sang the loudest she had ever sung. She sang so loud her mum dropped the teapot she was holding. She sang so loud her smallest brother was knocked off his feet. She sang so loud her next-door neighbour's ferns exploded out of their plant pots. She sang so loud that even the Ruru heard Ruby's song. And when the Ruru heard Ruby Loudmouse, its yellow eyes went wide, its beak dropped open, and its feathers flew back in surprise to hear so much noise coming from such a small mouse. The Ruru looked at Ruby Loudmouse in alarm, and Ruby looked right back and kept on singing. With a screech, not half as loud as Ruby's song, the big feathery Ruru flew away. Look! Ruby scared it away. After the Ruru had gone, the whole town burst into noise. Ruby's brothers and sisters all jumped up and down. Ruby's mum clapped her hands together, and all the neighbours cheered. From that day on, Ruby didn't have to try so hard to be quiet. From that day on, nobody at school said, "Shh." Nobody at the library said, "Shh." And no one at the museum or on the bus or in the dairy said, "Shh." Instead, they all said, "Sing, Ruby Loudmouse, sing." Ruby had saved them all. They all look very happy there, don't they? And in the back of the book, some mice facts and some Ruru facts, and the website links to where you can find out more information. How cool is that? Sometimes we do have to be quiet, but sometimes we can be loud. If you want to find out more about Ruby Loudmouse and the Ruru, you can visit batemanbooks.co.nz. And if you'd like another of these wonderful stories, how about you come back and visit me again soon? There's lots of great stories here. Ka kite. Goodbye, my friend.